What is going on, and welcome back to episode 13, unlucky for some, with me, FoggyPlays, on Football Manager 2021. It's the Director Football Journeyman, my friends. It is going quite well. We are currently sitting second in the league. Can you imagine? We've gotten to second, 2 points behind Peterborough, which they don't seem to be dropping points very often. So I think, as it is right now, we're just over halfway through the season. We're going to have a bit of a hard time winning the league. I'm very surprised we're in the top 6, so it's been a time. Since you were here last in the Walsall Bradford game, we have gone through quite a few games. We beat Preston to qualify for the next round of the Papa John's Trophy North. Yep, I know what we're doing. Then we beat Accrington 2-1, Preston 2-1 again, because we are so very good at football. Jay Stansfield came back and he's been quite good since he's come back from his injury. We beat Swindon 3-1. We beat Accrington 3-1 in the FA Cup second round. It was a lot harder than it needed to be completely honest. I think, didn't we lose to Accrington earlier in the season? Have we ever played Accrington? We have. No, we beat them earlier that month. What am I talking about? Then we beat McDon's 2-0. They're having a very poor season this year. Harry McHugh got sent off fairly early. Wasn't that big of a deal. We were still significantly better than them. Then we drew with Blackpool. It was disappointing that they scored right at the end, but Gavin Massey picked up a terrible injury, and he's only just recovering from that now. Then we beat Gillingham 1-0. A lot harder than it needed to be. We lost against Bolton of all teams. Like, Bolton, it was, what are you going to do? Then we beat Salford, Bristol Rovers, and then just beat Crewe. Alec Marshall scored his first goal for the club. He's played 4 games this season. Twice he started, twice he's come off the bench. And he got a man of the match for the victory over Crewe. We are about to jump into the January transfer window. And speaking of the transfer window, we have some players that are leaving. Owen Evans is going to Lincoln. His contract was running out, and Lincoln offered money for him to take him at the start of January. The director of football was like, yeah. I think they rejected the first lot of offers. Just 3 clubs came in for him. And they offered like 5k or something, and he rejected it. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Maybe he's going to offer him a new contract. And no, just they came back in, offered, I think it was his value at the time. Yeah, his value at the time. He's leaving. James Carragher had an offer from Blythe Spartans. He said, no thank you. Ollie Crankshaw, whose contract was also running out, Sunderland offered, or I think that was his value at the time as well. Sunderland are taking another player whose contract was expiring at the end of this season. And Joe Piggott is off to Notts County for what was his value at the time as well. So that is quite nice. We've got a bit of money coming in finance wise, 1.3 million in the bank, and we're going to get those transfer money, not those, that's going to come through in the not too distant future. And wage budget, we're going to drop down almost over 2 grand for our committed spend. So hopefully the director of football does a bit of business in January, brings in a couple of players, because we are so very short. The reason Alec Marshall is in the first team is because we've had a bit of an injury concern. So Dan Smith is back from his injury, not fully fit to play. Same with Massey. He's back from his injury but not fully fit to play. Rob Senior is back from his injury. We have to have an 17-year-old centre back on the bench who's never played a game of football he's played under 18s. And Obi is suspended for this game. Beckles is back tomorrow from a holiday because he's just died, because he's been away on international duty as well. Came back and we just played him constantly. Adam Long's picked up an injury. Perry and Solomon Odobor still out for another up to 4 months with that injury, so should be interesting. Diaco hasn't been playing great, but he is starting today because we have no other options. But we've Dillo on goal, Dackers Cogley and Pierce as our wing backs. Dackers Cogley has been decent form recently. Diaco and Dolan Don't actually want Diaco as a ball-playing defender. That's what Obi does. Evans and McHugh in central midfield. Marshall and Asgard as our wide men. Keane and Stansfield starting up front. Gershala. Yeah, Gershala. He's been playing quite a lot recently. He's played 7 games in total. Started 4 league games. He's not been amazing, but he's learning a new position and he's picking it up fairly quickly. His attributes are a little bit all over the place at the minute, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. He's just gonna spend time playing, really. Senior was originally going starting, but then I was like, if I play him and he picks up another knock, I'm going to be annoyed. So he'll be if absolutely necessary, him, Massey and Smith will come off the bench. Hoping that's not the case. I prefer to bring Gershala on before Massey because of the fact that Massey has, just recovered from an injury. Diaco is struggling for match fitness. To be fair, he's not been on the bench, not started a game for a long time. He has he's just been one of those players that I've not really clicked with in the second half of the season. Our good run of form has coincided with him not being in the team. Stansfield, as was pretty much known from the start of the season when he started playing really rather well. He has been the one that's made all the difference so far this year. He came back and our form absolutely turned around and he became the main player again. It would be nice for him to see in senior to have the starting positions together because we were at our absolute best form when we had the two of them playing. But Jolly has had a good start to the season as well. He's played rather well recently. When himself and Will Keane have basically been, what a goal by Stansfield. Will Keane and Jolly have been kind of swapping between positions, or been swapping between each other since Stansfield came back, because Stansfield just starts every game. He plays as much as humanly possible, but Keane and Jolly have been swapping between each other. They're interchangeable. They both play fairly similar. Jolly is a little bit better at the minute. Pierce, quite a good save by their goalkeeper, to be fair to him. Jolly has been good, but I really want Senior to step back into that position because that's where he's just been amazing this year. Playing as the deep lying forward. I'm not happy with Dolan. Is frustrating because he has good numbers. He's just not very good in. How was Stansfield offside? Or was it? Who was offside? We'll never find out. We'll never know. It's a secret FM is keeping to itself. Marshall gets dispossessed. Diaco all the way back to Dillo, who is just nailed on number 1 starter. He's been exceptional recently. So happy to keep him on. Cogley puts it through, and Stansfield with his 18th goal of the season. We are 2 up away from home against Sunderland. I feel like you could say it was kind of expected because Sunderland have been meh recently. But at the same time, Sunderland are still a decent team. But they have struggled. Diaco's picked up a bruised thigh. Not ideal. We'll have to keep an eye on that because I really don't want to bring Hughes on. Charlie Hughes making his debut against Sunderland. I suppose there'd be a worse time to make her debut. But yeah, we've brought a couple of players up from the... Stansfield's offside. He should have 4 goals today. But yeah, Hughes and Campbell is I brought in a third goalkeeper up because with Owen Evans leaving, I decided I want to keep 3 goalkeepers in the first team, so he's just going to be available to play in the under 18s. We're going to pump our fists and say we're capable of even better. But yeah, we've been quite enjoying how the season has progressed through November and December. Look at that. Stansfield, 4 goals. We should be 4 up today. Stansfield should have 4 goals. Unfortunately, he does not. But Asgard has really come into his own recently as well, which is quite nice to see that the younger players are stepping up when the main players, like the old guard, are gone. Diaco, I'm gonna have to take Diaco off for. I'm gonna have to bring on Charlie Harris. Hughes. He's right only, so I'm assuming he doesn't really care. Alright, well, he's gonna make his first appearance. My mouse decided to stop working. Will Keane is gonna come off for senior. He's gonna play as the deep playing forward on attack, because that's what he was doing before he picked up his injury. And we're going to leave it at that for now. We do have a few players on the bench that potentially I'm going to bring on. The one thing I'm weary of is the fact that Hughes is but he is the best of the defenders that aren't in the first team. So that's why I decided to bring Hughes up. Hughes, nice header away. Marshall. Dakar Cogley to Evans. Oh, nice build-up play. What are we going to do with it? McHugh, Evans, dinks it out to Pierce, who recently signed a new contract, and Stansfield does get his hat-trick, 19 for the season. Tom Pierce did sign a new 2-year contract recently. It's a lot of fun when you're managing as a director of football, doing all your contracts and your signings, because stuff just randomly appears in your newsfeed, and you're like, oh, we have this guy for another 2-3 years, whatever. So when Tom Pierce does not like me. So when he appeared as a player that we'd signed for another 2 years, I was like, oh, did not expect that. Chris Maguire, first goal of the season. It's taken him half the season to score it. That's nice for Sunderland. We are going to make sure that we don't fall apart here, because everyone's composed, which is fine. So Tom Pierce is quite tired, so we're going to bring on Dan Smith to replace him. His first game in months, probably. Dakar Cogley has really become, I know I said it in the last episode, but he's really become quite the rock at the back. He has had inconsistent games where he's been shocking, but he's had other games in where he's been fantastic, and it's quite nice to see he's kind of stepped into the role of like our starting right back. We didn't really have a choice, to be fair, but at the same time, he could have easily turned around and just been crap. I should have probably played Crankshaw in this game, because he's going to Sunderland, and I would have liked to see what he would have done against them. Maguire's going for his second goal. Did Dillo get a hand to that? I don't think he did, but it's fine. We're just passing the ball around. Hughes gets a couple of touches. He hasn't done anything terrible, which is quite nice to see. Asgard tries to find Marshall, but he picks up the loose ball. Oh, Thor couldn't find it, or couldn't get there. And now Sunderland playing out from the back with 5 seconds left. Hughes, quite a smart foul giveaway for a 17-year-old centre-back. Potentially comes into the first team and just plays a little bit and see what gets on. But we have beaten Sunderland 3-1 away from home. I don't know where Peterborough playing today. Didn't actually have a look. I think we're still far enough away from the end of the season where I'm not really paying attention to what's going on around us. I'll start to focus on it when we've got like 10, 12 games to go. As it is right now, there's no point in kind of looking at, Peterborough did drop points. Peterborough drew with Salford. Interesting. Wickham drew with Lincoln. So we've gone top of the league. Diaco's out for a week, which is not ideal. Stansfield with a hat-trick. Get in there. Dan Smith is one appearance away from getting a pay rise. Stansfield praise his performance. Superb in front of goal. 19-year-old striker. He is just exceptional. So we'll be back in just a second for the game against Portsmouth. It should be an interesting game. They are 5th in the league. A win for them brings them up level with Wickham. It'll tighten everything up if we lose to them. If we win, I'm going to pull away a little bit. Who are Peterborough playing? Bristol Rovers. Oh, they're back up to 4th. They're having a bit of a resurgence. Right, we'll be back in just a second for the Portsmouth game. Don't go anywhere. So now, for the second game, you can see that second play 4th, we play 5th, and third play 20th. So Wickham have a more comfortable game ahead of them for potentially being able to pick up the 3 points. But we have made minor changes. Dolan comes in at centre back because Diaco's injury. So I'm not going to risk him. Just going to leave him out. He's also failed a fitness test, so he's not starting. Will Keane continues today because I don't want to force Rob Senior back too quickly. So we're going to see how he gets on. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else worth mentioning. Crankshaw's just going to sit this one out. He's been decent this year, but where do I put him in? Yeah, Garshala is just going to miss this one out. I want to give Crankshaw an opportunity to say goodbye to the lads because he's been here for a while. Yeah, he's been here a while. He played a lot of games last season. Played quite a few games this season as well. So I don't want to leave the man out completely for his last game. But the Portsmouth side, managed by Sol Campbell, who at the start, or at like 20 games into his career as manager, he got the steady start to life at Portsmouth thing. Oh, that corner evaded everybody, and Asgard chases it down and then manages to get into the back of the net. I'm not sure why I have Asgard as like the guy standing there. He's the tiniest player on our team. He's legitimately the shortest player in the team. He's 5'6", and I have him inside the box. I feel like I need to change that. That's not what I was looking for when they did that. But we're 1-up. He scored from a corner. It's a bit like I've already forgotten the name of Baramo. He was 5'7" and inside forward for Hertha, and he used to score so many headers, which was just ridiculous. Maybe we've found our new inside forward who's quite short, but he was Mozambique/German, and it's now even English Norwegian guy, which it's not as fun as being like, oh yeah, I have a guy from Mozambique playing for my team. But yeah, we're going to go in at halftime, potentially 1-0 up. Oh, I was going to say the assistant manager is insane. Like, he's constantly going on about how we should be playing work ball into the box. We've got a new assistant manager. Accrington, I think it was, took Richardson. So the technical director, I think, is the one I have in charge of all the... Yeah, I think it's the technical director. He's in charge of all the coach contracts and whatnot. So the day Richardson left, one of our coaches got brought up to play or to be our assistant manager. Was that a header by Asgard? I swear to God, if he scored again, I'd been like, what the fuck? Yeah, our new assistant manager used to be one of our coaches. Not anymore. He is now our assistant manager. And I'm going to bring Crankshaw on for Marshall. And then he brought in a new coach within a couple of weeks, maybe. And it was ex-Wigan player Gary Teal. So any Wigan fans watching this will be familiar with Teal because he was with the club for 4 years, I think it was. 4 and a bit years. Evans almost gets the ball into the back of the net, but Seniors picked it up to Asgard. Asgard has decided today he's going to be a worldie of a player. Before this game, he had 1 goal. He's now got 3. But yeah, we've got ourselves a new coach, and Teal is quite a good coach compared to what we have. The best player our best coach we had before that was a guy called Rob Edwards. But now we have a significantly better coach in our ranks. which is nice. Our assistant manager's not great. Sten Peterson. He's acceptable. Wouldn't be the coach or the assistant that I'd go for, but thanks to Bristol Rovers almost beating Peterborough, we've pulled 2 points clear. Wickham had the easiest game and they drew, so that's put a little bit of daylight between us and, say, the 5th, Barnsley, who did something, drew with Walsall. So if anything, we've actually done really rather well out of this. Our next game is the FA Cup third round against Sheffield Wednesday, who you might remember, start of the season, we have previous against them. We did beat them, but we're not going to bother showing that, because if it was the Premier League team, we would have come back for Portsmouth and the Premier League team, just see how much money we could get. Chesterfield player, hey? Oh, Dacres Cogley's fined for yellow card accumulation, so he's going to miss 2 matches, which means Jordan Spence gets to play a game, or gets to play 2 games. But yeah, we've quite the tired legs. So for the next episode, we're going to come back and play potentially Gillingham. Maybe the FA Cup 4th round, depending on when that would be. But as it is right now, we'll do Wickham, because that might be a more important game. Potentially Wickham might be the FA Cup 4th round, depending on if we can get past Sheffield Wednesday or not. But with all of that being said, we are having a decent time of it. I think the board are delighted with us. Yeah, because we're expecting mid-table. We're currently fighting for the league, which is fantastic. My contract does run at the end of the season. Nothing mentioned about new contract yet. We'll find out what happens. I have actually, before I forget, we are studying for our National B. We're studying for National B license. So that's delightful to get, because could do with getting our reputation increased ever so slightly more. So, like I said, if you've enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Share with all of your friends. And I'll see you in the next one.